Your dinner tonight is setting a silent timer in your bladder, one that will force you out of bed at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., maybe 4 times before sunrise, dragging you away from rest your body desperately needs. And the cruelest part, you think it's normal aging, something you just have to accept. It's not. I'm Dr. Natalia Parker, and what I'm about to show you will change how you think about dinner forever. Right now, as you're watching this, there's a chance you had red meat or fried food or something salty for your last meal. If you did, here's what's happening inside your body that nobody's telling you about. Those foods aren't just sitting in your stomach being digested normally, they're triggering an inflammatory cascade that's making your prostate swell like a balloon pressing against your urethra, the very tube you need open to sleep through the night. But that's only half the problem, and honestly, it's the half most doctors won't explain clearly because it sounds too complicated. Your kidneys right now are working overtime trying to filter out all that excess salt and animal protein you consumed. They're not resting like they should be when you sleep. Instead, they're pushing all that filtered liquid straight into your bladder precisely when you close your eyes and try to drift off. You're creating the perfect storm for fragmented sleep without even realizing it. And here's the detail that should make you sit up and pay attention. This isn't about how much water you drink during the day, it's about what you're eating at night that forces your body into emergency filtration mode when it should be in repair mode. The food you choose for dinner is either your sleep protector or your sleep destroyer, and most men are unknowingly choosing the destroyer every single night. Now, before I tell you about Marcus, a man who was on the verge of surgery and completely turned his situation around, I need you to understand something critical about how food actually works at the cellular level, because without this knowledge, you'll keep making the same mistakes. When you eat inflammatory foods at night, especially animal proteins and processed salts, you're not just filling your stomach, you're sending chemical messengers throughout your entire body that tell your tissues to hold on to water, to swell up, to activate defense mechanisms. Your prostate, being glandular tissue surrounded by smooth muscle, is particularly sensitive to these signals. It responds by expanding, and when it expands, it chokes off the urethra, making every drop of urine feel urgent even when your bladder is barely half full. That's why you feel like you need to go desperately, but when you get to the bathroom, barely anything comes out. The signal is broken, hijacked by inflammation. But wait. Because there's a mechanism happening simultaneously that makes everything worse, and this is what pharmaceutical companies have built entire medication lines around without actually fixing the root cause. At night, your body produces a hormone called ADH, anti-diuretic hormone. Its job is to concentrate your urine and let you sleep without interruption. It's your body's natural night watchman. But when you load your system with inflammatory foods and excess sodium, you override this hormone's ability to do its job. You're essentially firing your night watchman and wondering why intruders keep breaking in. The body can't concentrate urine properly, so it keeps producing more and more dilute urine that fills your bladder faster than it should. You're fighting against your own biology, and biology always wins. Let me tell you about Marcus. He's a contractor, worked his whole life with his hands building homes for other families while neglecting his own body's needs. Marcus told me something that broke my heart, but that I hear constantly from men his age. "Doc, I never learned to cook. My wife handles all that. I eat whatever she makes and I'm grateful for it. How can I ask for special meals?" That mindset, that resignation, was costing him his dignity night after night. Marcus would shuffle to the bathroom 4, sometimes 5 times a night. His wife could hear him through the walls, the tired sighs, the frustrated muttering, the sound of someone who'd given up on sleeping properly. He thought cooking something therapeutic would be complicated, require skills he didn't have, take time he couldn't spare. That belief was destroying his quality of life. What changed his mind was when I challenged him to try making this formula just once, to prove to himself it wasn't beyond his capabilities. The result shocked both of us, not just because it worked, but because of how simple it actually was. A child could make this. There are no advanced techniques, no exotic spices you need to hunt down, no culinary degree required. And that first night Marcus made it himself, His wife couldn't believe what she was witnessing, not just her husband standing at the stove with a wooden spoon in hand, something she'd never seen in 40 years of marriage, but the silence that followed. For the first time in she couldn't remember how long, there were no footsteps dragging across the floor at 3 a.m., no toilet flushing, no resigned sighs in the darkness. Marcus slept straight through until morning, woke up with the sun on his face instead of urgency in his bladder, and he told me he felt a sense of relief he thought he'd lost forever. The biggest barrier wasn't his ability, it was the false belief that he couldn't take care of himself. Now, here's where everything I've told you so far comes together into something practical, something you can actually use tonight. Because I'm not interested in giving you theory, I want to give you a solution so clear that you have no excuse not to try it. This formula is built on something the pharmaceutical industry absolutely hates talking about: food synergy. Listen to this carefully because this is where the real magic happens. Eating a raw tomato is good for you, sure, but it will never be enough to reduce the inflammation strangling your prostate at night. Why? Because the compound in tomatoes that protects your prostate, lycopene, is locked inside thick cell walls. When you eat a tomato raw, you're only absorbing a tiny fraction of that lycopene. Your body can't break down those cell walls efficiently. But when you combine tomato with healthy fat, specifically olive oil, and heat, everything changes. The heat breaks down the cell walls, releasing the lycopene, and the oil acts like a transport vehicle, dissolving the lycopene and carrying it directly into your bloodstream where it can actually do its job. We're talking about a tenfold increase in absorption, 10 times more protective power just by combining ingredients correctly. But that's just the beginning of the synergy story. And this next part is where most people mess up because they don't understand the chemistry. Turmeric contains curcumin, one of the most powerful anti-inflammatory compounds found in nature, particularly effective for bladder and prostate tissue. The problem is your body struggles to absorb curcumin on its own. It passes through your digestive system largely unused, wasted potential. However, and this is crucial, if you add just a pinch of black pepper, everything changes. Black pepper contains a compound called piperine that activates curcumin and increases its absorption by a staggering 2,000%. Not 20%, not 200%, 2,000%. That's not a typo. One tiny pinch of black pepper transforms turmeric from mildly helpful to therapeutically powerful. But we're still not done because there's a third synergy at play here that creates a defensive shield unlike anything a single food could do alone. When onion meets tomato in the presence of heat and fat, the quercetin in the onion combines with the lycopene from the tomato to form what I call a double shield. Quercetin helps relax the smooth muscle tissue around your bladder and prostate, reducing that constant feeling of urgency, while lycopene reduces the inflammatory swelling. Together, they work exponentially better than either could alone. You're not just cooking dinner anymore. You're preparing a naturally powerful therapeutic dose. An elite army protecting your sleep from the inside out, all from a simple pot of soup. But I have to warn you about a fatal mistake right now, because if you make this error, all your effort will be completely wasted and you'll wonder why the formula didn't work for you. Many men, wanting something quick and convenient, rush to the supermarket and grab those boxes of pre-made tomato sauce, processed tomato paste, the cheap stuff in cans with cartoon tomatoes on the label. Never do that. That is not healing food. That's a trap disguised under an attractive red shell. You think you're getting tomato, but what you're actually getting is massive amounts of added sugar, refined salt, and a cocktail of industrial preservatives designed to extend shelf life, not protect your health. Remember this clearly. Sugar is the fuel that ignites explosive inflammatory reactions in your prostate. And salt, especially refined sodium, is the hidden enemy, forcing your body to retain water, pushing your kidneys into overtime to eliminate it right in the middle of the night, destroying the very sleep you're trying to preserve. You're trying to put out a fire, but that cheap box of sauce is throwing gasoline on the flames burning in your bladder. For this soup to be truly powerful, truly therapeutic, your ingredients must be fresh, ripe tomatoes, the kind that are red all the way through and juicy when you cut them, because that's when lycopene is at its peak concentration. Or, if you're too busy to buy fresh, look for canned organic tomatoes with labels that clearly say no salt added, no sugar added. Read the ingredient list. If you see anything other than tomatoes and maybe citric acid, put it back. The difference between healing and feeding the disease sometimes comes down to whether you're willing to read labels carefully or just grab whatever's convenient. Comment below if you're committed to choosing clean ingredients for your body, if you're willing to do this properly. Tell me you'll try this tonight. So, what's the final answer to those long nights of broken sleep, those mornings when you wake up more tired than when you went to bed? I call it the powerful red soup, but please don't confuse this with some appetizer you order at a restaurant for fun. I need you to completely shift your mindset right now. Think of your dinner as medical nutrition therapy, real, active therapy. You're not walking into the kitchen just to cook something to pass the time. You're entering your own personal laboratory to prepare a natural remedy, and this soup is designed specifically to replace those heavy dinners packed with red meat, processed starches, fried foods, the things silently murdering your sleep quality. Why soup? Because it's warm, easy to digest, and most importantly, it doesn't force your kidneys to work hard processing animal proteins right before you're trying to sleep. When you eat this, you're sending a peace signal to your body. Instead of activating your digestive system at full capacity, you're providing pure nutrients that allow your system to start cellular repair mode. And the most beautiful part? You don't need to be a professional chef. You don't need special equipment. You need basic ingredients and 25 minutes. But for this soup to develop the miraculous effect I've promised, you need to understand exactly what each ingredient will do inside your body when they combine. What happens at the cellular level after you take that first spoonful is truly remarkable, and I want you to see it clearly. Imagine the pot of soup simmering on your stove isn't just food. It's a precise chemical reaction occurring to serve your body's deepest needs. When the temperature softens those chunks of ripe red tomato, it's breaking down stubborn cell walls to release the lycopene, that silent architect helping reduce the size of the prostate pressing against your urethra. But lycopene is demanding. It will slip away if it doesn't have a guide, and that's when olive oil appears as the perfect solvent, dissolving the lycopene and carrying it deep into your bloodstream. Yet what makes this formula legendary lies in the pair of bodyguards I'm about to reveal. Pay close attention here because this decides success or failure. Turmeric and black pepper. Turmeric contains curcumin, the nemesis of bladder inflammation, but our body struggles to absorb it alone. Just a pinch of black pepper, though, with its piperine compound, activates the curcumin and pushes absorption to that unimaginable number again, 2000%. Finally, we have onion with quercetin helping to relax the smooth muscles of the bladder that spasm and contract. These four ingredients don't act alone. They synergize to create an impenetrable shield right inside your body, working while you sleep. Let's return to Marcus's story because this is where theory becomes real transformation. The image of a man who spent his whole life holding construction tools, now awkwardly holding a wooden spoon by the stove, was truly a pivotal moment. His wife Sarah initially watched with skepticism mixed with amusement, but when the intense aroma of sautéed onion with garlic mixed with the gentle, acidic brightness of ripe tomatoes filled their kitchen, she did something Marcus didn't expect. She quietly took another bowl and sat down to eat with him. That dinner wasn't just medicine, it was the connection they'd lost years ago. And the miracle came after. That night, absolute silence enveloped the bedroom that used to be noisy with shuffling steps at midnight. Marcus lay down at 10 p.m., and the next thing he perceived was sunlight hitting his face at 6 a.m. What happened inside his body? Simply release. Because that dinner no longer had excess salt and animal proteins, Marcus's kidneys finally got a vacation, no more working overtime filtering blood all night long. More importantly, when there are no inflammatory factors from dirty foods, the antidiuretic hormone ADH, your body's silent night watchman, can finally do its job correctly, concentrate urine, and keep the bladder at rest. The next morning, Marcus woke up not with a tense, painful lower abdomen, but with an immense feeling of relief and a strong, decisive stream like his younger years. That's the victory of correct knowledge. And if you also long to reclaim this feeling of victory, share this video with your friends who are dealing with the same thing. Don't keep this secret to yourself. Spread it to save other men's sleep. Now roll up your sleeves because we're going to turn theory into action right in your kitchen. Don't worry if you're clumsy or you've never cooked. If Marcus did it, you can definitely do better. This process takes 5 minutes of prep, but the benefits last all night long. Start with the soul of the dish. Sauté chopped onion and garlic with olive oil over medium heat. When that characteristic aroma rises, add fresh tomatoes cut into small chunks. At this point, add our secret weapon, 1 tablespoon of turmeric powder and most importantly, just a pinch of black pepper. Remember what I told you, just a pinch. Don't be greedy and add too much because excessive spiciness could inversely irritate a sensitive bladder. Add some water and lower the heat to minimum. This is where the real magic occurs and you need patience for exactly 20 minutes. Why 20 minutes? Because that's the golden time necessary for the temperature to completely break down the cellular structure of the tomato, and here's how to verify you've succeeded. Look carefully at the layer of oil floating on the soup's surface. If you see the olive oil change from yellow to bright orange-red, congratulations. That's the signal that lycopene has been fully released and dissolved in the fat, ready to penetrate your blood and protect you. If the oil stays yellow, it means you haven't cooked long enough. Finally, blend everything smooth so your stomach doesn't have to work hard digesting raw fiber and enjoy it while it's hot. Turn every dinner into real therapy. Never underestimate the power of what you put into your body each day. When you hold that bowl of warm, aromatic soup with herbal smells in your hands, I want you to understand you're holding control of your own health, not delegating it to anyone else. Sustainable health is right there in your soup pot, in your wise choice, not in the family's cold medicine cabinet, not depending completely on chemical pills. Engrave in your mind what we've shared, and especially this core mentality. Don't eat just to fill your stomach, eat to heal every damaged cell inside. This soup isn't simply food, it's a warrior's shield protecting the dignity and peaceful sleep of the pillar man. You deserve a free life, not one tied down by disease worries. If this type of content helps you, if you want more truths that almost nobody explains with this kind of clarity, subscribe to the channel right now because we're going to keep digging deep into what really works. We have many more stories to share. For now, go to your kitchen and start your recovery journey. Enjoy your meal and sweet dreams.